Hello everyone, I'm here today to talk about WPT World Championship main tournament for 10k, which I won satellite to and played recently. So this video is gonna be about day 1D uh, and include hand analysis. Let's get started. So a few notes about structure and what has been happening. So the starting stack was like 100k. There is a big blind ante equals to the big blind in size. The first level of blinds is 300, 500, making stacks like 200 big blinds. The first day blinds are like 60 minutes and they progress pretty slowly, so which gives like a lot of opportunity to play deep stacked. Also another thing that it started four-handed and became five-handed soon. There is another note that there's been a pro on the table. I later learned that this was Stephen Kaas Buckner. This guy just like talked a lot, told various like stories, and also was like bad mouthing this, I don't know. And I played some hands with him, but I didn't play like huge hands. Um, then let's get to some hands. One is happened pretty early when I flopped a flush. Yeah, and by the way, I would be just like posting all the like notes of what happened in the presentation. So if you're just interested to like skim through and don't listen as much on analysis, you can do so. So I'll just like put it there because it's like I think it's simpler. It also gives that option to like just get past quickly, and I would focus on analysis of what I was like thinking, and like also note how I would play hand differently if it's the case. So blinds 300, 500, stack about 95k. I called a raise of 1.3k on small blind with like jack 8 suited, and big blind also calls. I think deep stacked, it was like a relatively small raise and ante. Seems like okay call. I didn't check the charts for that. But like I recall like cash game charts which are like a bit even like tighter, which I checked recently, and I think with like deep stacks, you like jack 8 suited is still like is a call or like close to that. So I think in the tournament it's like a reasonable call. So I flop a flush and decide to lead for 3k. Just I'm like afraid that it just gets checked through because I don't have like a nut flush. And also people might think that I'm trying to steal a pot, so I'm hoping to get some action. I lead for 3k, big blind calls, and original raiser folds. Turn is a king of a different suit. I bet for like 8k and gets raised to 16k. Now there are some options. I really don't want to just like wait, because like first of all opponent is already like showing me that he likes his hand quite a lot, and also like if he's on a draw he's not gonna like call river bet and may not necessarily bluff. And then like if he's on a draw I probably just want him to give him like bad odds. If he's like on a set, for example, I mean like fifth or fourth flush card can like kill all the action. So I want to get all the money in like pretty early. So I think I can like raise to about like 40k, but it's already like half of my stack. So in general advice from what I heard is like if you have like 30% of your stack invested, you might as well go like all in with like a raise or like a bet. I think it probably mostly applies to the raise, because for a bet, like you can still like probably try to make a smaller bet and like try to like get people along. So I go all in for like 85k. Big blind folds and shows ace 7. He said like this sucks, but it's probably like a good fold given that I can have like some set or flush. I think he just put me on the flush. I think in this case I wasn't like too worried about getting outdrawn as it appears, but like I didn't know that it's like 2 pair. I think with a set he'd probably just call me off. I think it would be also easier if he just like raised to 24k or so, like something more of a standard size. Then it's probably also gonna give him a better odds to call. But I think he just made the right read. So then let's go to the next hand. I got in a tough spot with a top pair. So I'm on cutoff with 8-6 of diamonds. That's a like pretty good raising hand for this position. I get to like 3 big blinds and get 2 calls from button and big blind. Flop is like 8-5-4 with two spades. So big blind checks. I bet 3.5k and get 2 calls. So my reason is here my hand needs some protection. Plus I got some gut shot straight draw. And like I think button might call a bit like tighter, but still maybe not as much tighter because I'm cut off, and big blind just gets a really good pot odds to call. So then, although for big blind, I think it means that he may hit this flop pretty well. So he'll probably stick around with like 5 or 4 for at least one bet, which I can extract some value from. But I also denying some like free cards for like something like ace king or like ace queen, but it's probably what they would 3-bet. Maybe like ace jack, ace 10, and any kind of high cards. Also, I charge the flush draw. So turn is 5 and big blind leads for 6k. I ended up calling. I generally like don't trust leads all too much because it's like it often seems kind of weak. And I don't know like why people would just like not like check and raise instead. And here like I think this lead kind of tries to tell that, oh, I got a 5, which is pretty reasonable from like big blind, and overall I think it's kind of good bet. But given that there is a flush draw and I still got some like gut shot draw equity and like maybe 8 would come, I cannot fold just yet because then I'm like getting possible to just exploit by like this kind of bluffs. So I decide to call and button folds. River is a king. I think it's generally a better card for me than for big blind because like there are quite a lot of kings in my like raising range. However, big blind bets for 11k. Just continues the line. This is a tough spot. I'm not too worried for a king, but I'm also like thinking that okay, maybe it's just a busted draw. So I think a good way to think about it, what would be the bluff catchers? I think obviously like a 5 or like full houses, just at least calling. Full houses would be raising with 5. Um, it's 5, it might get a bit trickier. We are afraid of like 6-7, which, well, opponent ended up showing. But also we might potentially get some value from 8. Also, I think like 8 might just like fold to a raise. So then just leaves the situation like what are the other bluff catchers, and I think also the fact that I have a 6, it blocks 6-7. But it didn't help me here, of course, but in general that's a good consideration to have. So 5 still remains a possibility. Again, I was a bit like, I'm a bit of a calling station these days. And I'm just was concerned that, okay, I can get the double barrel bluffed with like a bad turn, so it shouldn't really like happen. The thing that I would change probably, maybe like 8-6 is just has a bit of a weaker kicker. And I may have like overall quite a lot of 8s, like maybe 8-6, 8-7, but at the same time 8-6, 8-7 they block straights. So that's another nice property, but they obviously don't block any like 5s, and I don't have like ace to block, like for example a calling hand like ace 5. King 5 is also possible, although less likely, so at least it has to be like suited. Which leaves just only like 2 combinations of that. 6-5, like 5-4 is possible. Also, like I also block like 6-5 a bit. So overall, I still don't know what's the best choice here. I think like ace 8, of course, like king 8 are good calling hands. Given that I don't raise like 8-6 offsuit, I don't actually have that many 8s to like bluff catch with. At the same time, I'm just like going, if there's like a 5, I'm just gonna like pay it off, or if there's a straight, I'm gonna like pay it off. So that's kind of definitely a downside of this approach. So yeah. Let's get to the next hand. Yeah, that's probably not much to be proud of. There is a raise of 1k in several colors. I joined the party with Jack Deuce offsuit. I know there are like excellent pot odds, but Jack 2 offsuit is just like too bad. It doesn't get anything good on the flop, and it's really hard to realize its equity, so it's probably just a fold. However, I stick around, and flop is like king 10-5, I think. So sometimes like my notes were not perfect for this day. I think I got better at like later like tournaments and like cash games. With like just, I think, at least avoiding this like question mark for the most part. But here, yeah, I think it's still present sometimes. So king 10-5 is a flush draw. It just like checks through. Turn 5 or turn 6, sorry. I decide to just like bluff. I bet like pot. I was thinking that like, okay, maybe there's, I like check to the razor, and maybe got some king, just try to represent that. So I think that's kind of trying to compensate me just like getting in with a junker. Like it might or might not be a good idea. Like I think obviously it's like a pure bluff. I don't have any like any draw, or like any, even like jack doesn't give me like the best combination. Yeah, that's a kind of a problem of playing this kind of a hand. So at the same time, like since nobody's shown strengths, I think like a pot size bet is just uh, like kind of makes it more likely to take down the pot. Also, that I think about it, I think like 2/3 pot can be like a better choice, which can achieve like similar results by risking less. Because probably like 10 would still like stick around. Um, and I heard of a strategist like, for example, like you just mix 1/3 pod and do like 2/3 pod, and sometimes just do like over bet, like 120%. And that's like, it's not perfect, but it's like simpler to implement, and you can like easily like figure out if you just like, if you need to bet small, you bet like 1/3. If you need to bet large, you like bet 2/3. And in some situations where there is, for example, double flush draw, you may just like blast it like over the top. Um, so yeah, but since I don't have any chance to like win the hand otherwise, I might like try. I get one call. River, I don't remember what it was, but I decide to keep blasting again, like trying to represent a king. Um, and I think I like that's a still gives a kind of good chance. Because like if original Razor had a king, he would probably just like bet it, and then callers may like when they had a chance to bet it after like Razor checked, they didn't. Um, so like I think it's kind of a decent bluff, so I'd probably like try it again. But what I wouldn't try again is like calling with Jack 2 of suit. It's just bad. Next hand, I got to see where you're at. That's versus like Steven Buckner. That's pro. I even got into like news with that. Yeah, the link is on the slide. Um, so I have like Jack 8 offsuit on big blind. Middle position raises like 1k. I think that was like Steven. There is one call and I call as well. Um, Not sure if I like this call because it's like offsuit. I was kind of like more lenient to calls because of like the of just good pot odds and the hand is somewhat connected. At the same time, offsuit hands are kinda just like bad, and like probably I should just instead maybe focus on calling with like suited hands and like say Jack 10 offsuit maybe. Again, I didn't check the charts. Um, but yeah, Jack 8 is just like, again, would be hard to realize its equity unless I like flop to pair, or like straight draw is just like hard to get with this hand. But I flop 9-7-5, which is a double gutter. So it's probably like one of the like better hands I can get. However, there are like two diamonds, which is not great because like one of my outs can, or like two of my outs can be like bad, and also people may think I got a flush, or I may just like lose to a flush. So I like check to the razor, which is more like a standard practice. Um, like if the razor bet, I would probably just like call. I think there is an opportunity for a check raise to like play the draws aggressively. Um, but I just don't don't like it as much because like it's can invest in a lot of chips, and like people can still like put you on a draw and stick around. So something like 9-8 can call, like 10-9, ace-9 can still like stick around. And Steven Buckner has been like playing pretty loose. Um, so I think it's also would be hard to like bluff him off this. Uh, but it checks. So at the same time, this like 9-7-5 is kind of good for my like big blind calling range. So there may be some potential for leading. But at the same time, it's like again, leading may seem suspicious, and you might get raised and like kind of having to call with my like non-perfect draw like can be tough, and I don't have a position. So draws would be like much better to play in position. So turn is like I think it was 2 of like hearts. So the second heart comes in. I bet 3k and get a call from Steven. Now that I think of it, given there's like a double draw, I should have bet larger. So like what do we have? So the size is like 1.4 plus like 1.4 plus 1.4 is like 4.2 plus ante 500 plus small blind, so it's about 5k. Like I think to like make the draws fold, you kind of have to go like overpot it, and that's the one advice I heard from like Jonathan Little's like videos. So of course I'm like semi bluffing here, but my hand is kind of getting bad into its equity, and like I think overpot has a good chance to just like make all the draws fold, and I think that's also would have a maybe decent chance of success because I think like 9 would just like bet the flop just for protection. Yeah, so river is queen of hearts. I decided to keep blasting with my like busted draw. Just again a principle that like sometimes you just need to keep up the aggression and make like several leads, because if you like always check when you bust a draw, then it's like you like leaving a lot of money on the table, and it seems like easy to exploit. Should I bet? Like maybe. Again, Steven like was playing pretty loose, so I think he might have like just like called me with like some potential like 7 or something, or just with a draw. So I might as well try to represent that I had this flush draw and it arrived, or that like queen helped me in some way. So I get bet 7k into like about 11k pot. I think it's like an okay sizing. Although like overbet would be also pretty interesting, but also like somewhat like risky. And then he just calls me and comments that he's just gonna see where I'm at, because like he like raise and shows king 10 of hearts. So yeah, he like so I think like if there's been like a bet and check raise on a flop, then that would have given me a pot. Or like lead on the flop would probably give me a pot. That's something to consider. Yeah, and there's been like a video and he just like comments about this like hand, and that he got to see where I'm at, and then shows me for a little bit wearing the same like fish head. Let's go to the next one. Top 2 pair on a scary board. So blinds have increased a little bit. Heavy is king of an the gun and just like do standard raise. With deep stacks I like to raise to like 3 big blinds, just to like give blinds like less like pot odds to call. But still there are like 2 callers here. Flop ace king 7. That's a great flop for me. Then I want a continuation bet here. I think like I got a good nut advantage. Like now, looking at my bet size though, it's a little bit small. I think I wanna like when I have a nut advantage, I wanna bet like big again, according to John Little, if I'm not mistaken anything. I think if I lack a nut advantage but have a range advantage, I may still bet frequently, but like small. Uh, I think with under the gun, like ace and king like fits it like pretty well because I got like aces, kings, ace king, and callers like probably do not have those. Although I think like deep stack maybe like somebody would call with ace king, but most likely the only nuts they would have is like sevens for a set. So the pot would be like 5.4k plus about 1,006 like 6.3k or something. So I'd probably bet a bit bigger, maybe 4.5k. Um, then I get a call from a loose player. Turn is a 7 and also making a flush draw. 7 is a bit of a scary card for me because like loose player could have called me with like some 7 6 8 7 and potentially even like stick around just for one bet. Given that I have like a nut advantage and a range advantage, I don't know like if 7 would call me, but I got scared at the moment. So I check and loose player bets 7.5k. I'm kind of not letting myself getting like bluffed out of this, which might be like definitely possible. So I need to have some like bluff catching range. Again, I still think it's up to debate if like ace king here is like would be a bluff catcher or just like I should bet it for value. I still haven't decided on this. But for purposes of like catching a bluff, I definitely cannot fold here because, well, ace king is like near the top of my range. Um, so I guess like I'm probably like folding a king here. I may stick around with like something like ace queen, maybe like ace jack. Um, so because like where the bluffs are coming from? Bluffs may be coming from like a king or like some small pocket pair. Um, just maybe also loose player could like float me with some like garbage, like I don't know, 10-9 suited or whatnot. Um, or like some aces, like other aces can bluff. That's quite a lot of hands. Um, and definitely by like checking, I'm like saying, okay, I'm like scared. So um, I just call here. Don't see a reason to raise because probably I'm just getting called by the like hands that beat me. Um, so river is a jack. Um, again, I after checking and like getting a bet, I don't see how to like just lead it. Um, isn't probably just getting raised by like better hands and like worse hands out probably fold. But at the same time, if they're bluffing, they maybe like, keep blasting. So I think check, like given how it played out, like is a good choice. If turn would check through, I'm like definitely like betting. Um, but here I think I'm just like doing check call, given how this played out. Also, opponent like just checks and shows ace 4 offsuit. So that's a pretty loose call on the pre-flop because like offsuit hands are kind of bad and also like ace 4 can be easily dominated and that won me some money. Um, but I guess my check could have won me extra money because probably if I like make a second barrel, that opponent could have just folded. But there is also a chance that he would have raised me, putting me in an uncomfortable spot, and then I would need to like call another bet on the river potentially. So I kind of still like my check call approach. Let's check some double barreling stuff. I get like king jack of suit with jack of diamonds on some middle position. The raise for 1.8k. Small blind calls. Flop is ace 9 8 with two diamonds. Small blind checks, as he would probably do with like his entire range, because like ace is pretty good for my range. Then I just continuation bet. Again, I think here though, so like small blind has some like nines and eights. Although like yeah, it would be more helpful if I just knew like which exact middle position it was. And because it would show like how many nines or eights I'm gonna get in my range, but it's probably still not many. Like maybe again 9-8 suited or like 10-9 suited. 8s like 7 suited would probably be like common here. So but I think still this ace gives me some range advantage, and small blind just like calls, so it's probably like not like a premium ace, like not like aces, but it could be like eights or nines. So yeah, overall it seems like I have a range advantage. About not advantage, I'm not so sure. Like small blind could have called with like ace 9, ace 8, but I could have raised with like ace 9 and ace 8 suited at least. So I'd probably say that maybe like nobody has really like a big nut advantage. So I think I should bet probably like either small or large. I'm not even sure. But probably like bet more frequently and smaller. So I would say that since I may not have full nut advantage, then I would just like stick around with maybe with 1/3 of a pot. I think I bet even like a little bit bigger than that. But small blind calls. Turn is queen of diamonds, so it gives me some like non-nut flush draw. I don't remember if like ace was of diamonds or not. But also it gives me some gut shot. Small blind checks again, but queen is pretty good for my range, because like whereas like ace queen just got like two pair, like maybe like king queen, queen jack got to like a decent hand. And small blind still might have those in his range. So, but at the same time, I think small blind range is more skewed towards some like lower cards and like more like junkier hands. Although it's not like big blind, so I think with big blind it's probably gonna be an easier decision. But here, just I consider that like okay, I can keep representing a good hand like ace, and also like I have some like draws to back me up if I get called. So I keep blasting, and small blind folds. I got in a tough spot with the middle pair. I have like pocket eights on the button, and call a 1.3k raise from some middle position. It's pretty standard call. I don't think I should like 3-bet this as a bluff. Then flop is like jack 7, some like low card. There's a bet of 2.7k. Again, I call. Like I don't want to get myself just like bluffed by a continuation bet and have a like decent medium strength hand. And like jack is not like um, as like frequent card as for example an ace in opponent's hand. So at least like definitely I'm like calling one bet. Turns is a 6, bringing some flush draw. Again, it checks through. My strategy is like just to like check to the river, and like unless I hit like let's say some set of eights, I'm just like wanna see a showdown. because there is a good chance I may be like winning versus like ace king, ace queen, like maybe ace 10. But river is an ace, and there is a pretty like large bet from my opponent. I think that's a fold. So now there are like two cards that are scary, like ace and jack. And it hit like my opponent's range pretty well. So there are a lot of like broadways. So I only don't like hit like king queen or like queen 10, maybe like king 10 suited. But a lot of like things just like jack 10, queen jack, like ace x suited, maybe like even some like offsuit aces, they just like got there. And like all of the action is kind of consistent with opponent just like having some ace x and just like doing continuation bet and kind of giving up but then like getting lucky. So I think I would probably like I need to bluff catch sometimes, but I would probably need like a jack to do this. Maybe it's like a bit too nitty, but like ace is kind of a common card which like raisers would have. And there are like two cards like over here of my like pair of eights. I know that like also ace can be like a good card to like bluff. Um, but like at the same time, I think like if it's been like for example button, and I was like let's say on a big blind, it can make like for a bit like easier call because like button raises with all sorts of like junkier hands. Um, so yeah, but middle position is still gonna be like still relatively tight, I think, and I don't have any note about like this middle position player. So if I know that maybe he's like pretty loose, then maybe it's still a call. But also loose player also like raises more aces, maybe like I don't know, ace deuce offsuit, which like tighter player might just fold. Um, but yeah, I'm not getting like good odds. So maybe if the bet was like something like 4K, it's gonna be like relatively cheap, and I can like call it. But it's also a trade-off because like 4K may be like more like a bet designed against this kind of a hand I have. But yeah, big bet is more of a standard, whether it's like a bluff or like a good hand. Um, but yeah, I think like probably if I had like Jack 10 or like Queen Jack, um, just like a Queen Jack suited, I would probably just like try to bluff catch this. Okay, next hand. Semi bluffing with a gut shot. Here again, I did a bit of a like loose raise. I think king 4 suited I'm definitely raising on cutoff in like a tournament. Um, but I think king 4 off is a bit too like loose. It doesn't just play well post flop. So I'll probably just like fold it next time. So I raise it to 1.8k, small blind and Steven Buckner on big blind call. Flop 7-6-3, small blind checks, and big blind leads for 3k. Again, I mentioned that I don't trust leads and I have a gut shot, so like I'm just following the principle to play like made hands and draws aggressively, and here like my draws would be just like this, like open-enders or gut shots. So I also may like try to represent a better hand, like maybe like jacks or something. So I raise this lead to 9k, but then small blind blasts it with like a remaining 9.8k. So big blind folds, but then well I don't have much choice just but to call, and small blind shows us like a slow played set. Well done by him. And I don't get my like gut shot, and he just gets quads. So yeah, I think the bigger problem was just like raising pre-flop. I think like if players are like too nitty, it may be like worth it, but like against like Steven Buckner, like no, and and I get a hand which like plays poorly like post flop. So probably not. At least like wait for a suited one. Bluff 3-bet. So I have it ace 10 of suit on. Reconstruction shows it's probably like small blind or big blind. I didn't know like which position exactly it was. Cutoff raise is to 1.5k. Like I think that's a decent spot to like 3-bet. So it's kind of at the probably should be at the bottom of like a calling or like peep range. So and this is kind of like hands that you might like 3-bet bluff. Also I block an ace. So I 3-bet like larger, like 6k. Like again we are like still pretty deep. So like I want to 3-bet larger out of position to induce a fold, but like cutoff calls anyways. Flop is ace queen 10. It's probably like one of the best flops I could like hope for. Well, except like I don't know ace 10 10 or whatnot. But that doesn't happen too frequently. So I just continuation bet. And cutoff just calls. Yeah, after this it's kind of sketchy because cutoff may have like I don't know ace queen, ace jack. I don't know, maybe ace queen actually would like raise, but it might as well just call and try to like get more money from me if I'm gonna get blasting. So turn is an 8. I just decide to check because I think like now there are even more hands that beat me. So if he like called me with like I don't know 8-9 suited or like 8-7 suited, now he has like a nice trips. And my hand is just like not that good. So again, it was like designed as a like bluff 3-bet. So yeah, I just wanna like check and get a cheap showdown. River is I don't have a note for that. It again checks through and I win, which is pretty nice. So I don't know what the opponent had. Maybe some like king queen or like ace x. So maybe if I bet, I could have gotten some thin value. But like at that point, like ace 10 is kind of like a marginal mate hand. I don't love it after like my 3-bet gets called. And I don't think like for example ace jack is gonna fold. And actually like we would be like we would be chopping with ace jack, right? Because there are like aces, eights, and queen kicker. So yeah, ace x also just like calls and like chops. So again, I don't see much reason to bet, but I win and it's pretty nice. Kings versus queens post flop action. Yeah, that's like big increase to my stack. I have kings like in some like blind. It's a limper, raise to 3k. I 3-bet to 11k. Again, I wanna 3-bet large out of position, like larger than 3x, with like relatively deep stacks. I get a call from the raiser. So again, this can be a lot of stuff. It can be like some high suited ace, queens, maybe like jacks. I'm not sure if like smaller pairs get like any like set value. So it's what they need to call like up to 8k. And they need like 1 to 10 at least, so it's like about 80k. It might be about that amount, so maybe like some higher pairs are like still calling. Then flop is 5-4-2. So again, I don't think opponent really has those like 5-4-2 in their range. So I think it's like a just a decent spot for continuation bet. I still have I don't think anybody of us has like a not advantage. Um, I might three bet bluff, so it's also not, yeah, I'm not sure like it's if overall it's like adds up. I think I have the aces like kings, and he probably doesn't have it. But like I may three bet with like jacks, or he may have queens and in this spot, so it's also like the jacks is already not that like much of a nuts. But like I think I would have like a little bit of a range advantage here. Um, like because it's not I'm not playing like against a blind or something, and I think I have those like I have more like high cards that to beat his high cards, and I think my pairs are a little bit better. So I think it makes sense to just continuation bet, and in particular like just to get some value. Uh, so I get a call. That brings the pot to about 50k. Turn is a 10. Um, it's good. It's not an ace. I think for like 15k maybe he called with like ace king. Because there's that like over cards and gut shot. So probably like ace would be not that super great, but 10 is like what makes me like lose to like pocket tens. It is possible, but it's only like one of like maybe three combinations. Um, I actually didn't notice all his chips, and I thought he has about like 50k. So I just went all in thinking it's like about effective 50k. But he got a call. He actually had me a bit of covered. Um, at the same time, it's like if I'm betting maybe what 30k, that leaves me with like 50k, and the pot is gonna be like 110k. Yeah, probably just like bet smaller like next time. Um, at the same time, I'm not sure if like ace king would stick around, and like maybe queens or jacks, uh, they uh, they can still stick around anyways. I'm not sure if there's as much difference with like all in or non all in, but like also like all in can seem like a bit bluffy with like ace king. Um, and like if ace or king or like maybe queen comes onto like river, that can be a scary like overcard. So he may just not call it off later. Um, so yeah, I think if I kind of could play it like more in uh, like more considering stack sizes, I might have bet like bigger on the flop. At the same time, I kind of don't want to bet as big just to make sure, like for example, ace king sticks around. Um, so it's a bit tough to say like which one is better. But yeah, this I think this like all in is overall like maybe slightly better here because like queens and jacks may still like stick around. And there are some like bad cards like ace, 3, 6, which like I'm not sure if opponent would put me on that or if I put my opponent on that, but like still like looks a bit scary. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I noticed his stack, I might just like maybe we'll go for like more like a standard like maybe 30k bet and like all in on the river. Okay, top pair on a scary board. Have ace queen, didn't record the position, raised to 2.2k, loose player calls and one more player calls. Flop queen jack 9 with two clubs. It's a pretty like dynamic board. Um, I'm actually not sure if I really want a continuation bet here. Because like the board is pretty scary and like it like I think jacks or nines got there, like 10-8 got there, and there are like high equity draws which would like stick around. Um, at the same time, I got like one of the better hands I can have. Um, so I probably like so I don't think there is like I don't know who like has like a nut advantage, or if anybody probably nobody really has like a nut advantage here. Because like what king 10 can be in like both ranges. Like sets can be in both ranges. Um, range wise is also I'm not sure if there's range advantage. So I'm kind of just falling back on strategy of like play your like best made hands and like bet your best made hands and draws. And ace queen seems to be good. Also want to charge like for example king queen. Want to charge like 10 or like flush draw. So I bet about 4k. Should have probably bet on a bit a bigger size. So it's been like 6.6k plus I think like about 2000 maybe like I'm not sure if like big blind called or not or small blind, so let's just say it's about like 8k. So I probably want to bet a bit larger, maybe like 5 or 6k, just to give those draws a bit like lower odds. At the same time, like betting a bit smaller has an advantage that like maybe like some random jack would stick around or like 9 would stick around. um um but yeah, I think I would like probably like a bit bigger size more, just to like discourage draws or like charge them more, because I don't really think they're like going away unless I like overpot it. But I don't really want to overpot it because then it's like if I'm beaten, then I get like raised and I lose quite a lot of like money. Um, so loose player calls. Now the fold. Turn is a jack. That's a kind of bad card for me because like some now like yeah, obviously like jacks beat me, and maybe some like some ace jack or like jack 10. Like well queen jack was already like beating me. Um, so I probably like just better off checking and like trying to get a showdown because my hand just got downgraded to like a marginal made hand. River is a 9. So again, now it's even worse. Um, Again, I just like check. If opponent bets, I might try to bluff catch. I think ace queen is actually good to bluff catch because it's like one of the like better hands, which is not like non nut hand. Obviously, like 9 is good to like bluff catch, but at the same time, I wouldn't have like that many 9s in my range. Um, so yeah, I think like ace queen, like king queen are probably good to like do that. Um, Plus because there may be some bluffs with like missed club draw or like missed 10. So I definitely need to bluff catch. But this doesn't happen, and I win versus like queen 3 of clubs. It's like really loose player. Yeah, so it's like queens, jacks, and like a kicker that plays. So 3 pairs don't with like 9s don't like work like that. So I still like end up winning. Um, but still, like even in retrospect, I don't see any reason to bet because, like, again, on the river, queen 3 clubs probably just like folds, and like jack and 9 are obviously like sticking around. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Playing at trips. So blinds went up. I have like ace 5 offsuit, with ace of clubs on cutoff, and the raise. I think in a cash game it's gonna be a fold, but in a tournament where like people are usually like raise less and like there is an ante, I think it might be decent raise. Again, I haven't checked the charts, but like opportunity to just steal the blinds is great, and I have an ace blocker. Flop is jack 5-5 with one club. Uh, it checks. I decided to like slow play it a bit. Um, so like I thought that maybe a small blind would like keep blasting it later. Um, then I think on speaking of ranges, I don't have that many fives in my range, and like so. But at the same time, small blind has all the fives. Maybe like even, I don't know, 6-5 offsuit even potentially. Again, I don't have a note on if the small blind is loose or not. And I would be like raising from cutoff with a bunch of like high cards. So I don't have a nut advantage, but like, yeah, I'm not sure I have a range advantage too, just with like a jack. Maybe if it was like ace 5-5, then I think I might have a range advantage, but with like jack 5-5, I think we all like have jacks, like even like ace jack or whatnot. So it's like good flop to bluff, but at the same time I'm like it misses me like a lot of times. So I might try to represent some like middle pair or something, but the middle pair probably also wants to just like have a cheaper showdown. So I don't know. I think like both checking and like betting small like are reasonable here. But also I think like here I still like check a bit better because it like kind of lays a trap. I just need to make sure that I don't just like check with the nuts. So turn is queen of clubs. Small blind checks. I decided it's time to get some like potentially some value if I can, and in particular like try to charge the club draw. I think there are actually less club draws because I have like ace of clubs. In terms of bet size, yeah, 5k is pretty big, so yeah, and then also queen is good for my range, so it's like a reasonable bet. Then the river is a 4. Small blind checks. I again just like decide to like value bet, and small blind raises. I'm not sure what he was representing. Like maybe also another like 5. Or like, yeah, he had like ace queen. Maybe he wanted to get called by like, I don't know, king queen or something. But I don't think he should like really raise. It's also like similar reasoning why I should just call and don't raise further, because like I'm probably just gonna get called by hands that beat me, like some full houses. Um, doesn't have like that many of those. Maybe like, I don't know, fours, jacks. I don't know, queens hit probably 3-bet pre-flop. Maybe jacks as well. I don't know. Jack 5, Queen 5 suited. Possible, and it's small blind though, that's less likely. So there aren't that many full houses available. So yeah, overall now that I think about it, I'd still probably just call, because again I think like ace queen would probably fall to a raise, and there isn't much more than he can call with. Like maybe I should have re-raised and try to hope to like get something from potential 5, given that like there aren't that many like full houses. So yeah, maybe I missed some value here. So next one, hero calling against aggressive opponent. It's actually like one hand I'm pretty proud of. I have like king 4 of suit on big blind. There is a mean raise. I decide to defend because it's offsuit, but still it's like it's an aggressive button, so I might just as well be ahead of his range, and pot odds are pretty good. Flop is ace king x with a flush draw. Again, like medium strength hand for me, which is pretty nice. I check. There is no reason to lead. Button bets like I think around 2.7k, and I have a pretty easy call. I'm just not gonna get away with just like one bet, but I should be careful because like ace x is like also like a big chunk of the range. Turn some I think low card. Again I check. Button bets like pretty big. I think it what like 5k. It's actually a bit of a, like over potting it. So it doesn't look like he would do it with like just a weak ace or something. Because he may be concerned that I have an ace as well. So I think like flush draw may be one possibility, or but at this time his like range gets pretty polarized. So again, since he's like been really aggressive, I just decide to call. And river is another like I think low card, but not bringing a flush. I check, and button again bets like pretty big. Again, given his aggressiveness and that flush draw has been busted, I decided okay, it's probably like pretty polarized, so let me call. So I have a pretty good bluff catcher. Opponent shows 10-6. It wasn't even like a flush draw. So I think it was like my read was pretty correct. That like I think he was even more aggressive than like I would probably think. I got some compliments about that call. Then folding a top pair. That's a kind of a hand I misplayed, to be honest. So I have queen 10 of hearts, raise to 5k, big blind calls. Again, like 5k, maybe I can start raising like 4k at this point, but I thought that I'm still like pretty deep, so I want to give like blinds a bit of a less good pot odds. Big blind calls. Flop is 9-8x with like one heart and one club. Big blind checks. So I got like a pretty good draw. I got like gut shot over cards and like backdoor flush draw. So I think like for queen 10, those would be kind of my like draws that I'm gonna like play aggressively. So actually, I think big blind may have their, or rather, he doesn't have a range advantage, but I don't have a range advantage either. And speaking of the nuts, I think big blind actually has a bit more of a nuts. However, I have like a pretty good draw, so I may just as well like bet it. So I get like 5k in. Again, it's like more of like a half pot or slightly less. Like I think I would probably just like bet big, as I would like, so I would do with like some nuts, like a set. So maybe like 2/3 of a pot, so small, like I don't know, 7k. But big blind calls. Turn is like 10 of clubs. Big blind checks. I bet 10k. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe just like, okay, I got a top pair. Let me keep blasting and charging the draws. But big blind raises to 40k. Yeah, and that's kind of unfortunate because like I could have gotten a jack, could have gotten another like 10. But I could have been already like beaten by like queen jack, for example. So I think it's just an easy check back because like 10, 9, 8 with some flush draws, it's like opponent can easily have me beat or like have high equity draw. So on one hand, I kind of want to charge the draw. On another hand, like, yeah, if I get like raised, it's a disaster. So I have to fold, and that what happened. So again, facing a 3-bet with like king queen suited, I have it under the gun, raised to 5k. There's one caller and 3-better to 19k. That's actually a pretty big 3-bet. And for under the gun raise is also pretty strong. So honestly, like if I replace this back, I'll probably just like fold. Maybe if it was like a smaller 3-bet, like I don't know, 14, 15k, it's more of a call. But I don't like what I think I would be like just out of position here. And I can be like easily dominated by like ace king, like ace queen, and even like if I have like, I don't know, maybe if it's like ace 5 suited, I'm still like worse than ace 5 suited, but it's more like a closer, just a call by odds. And I also there's a, like also there's an opportunity to lose all my money if like it's, let's say, flush into flush, if it's like the same suit. So yeah, I not sure what charts say. I think for like a smaller three bet, it's maybe like a call, but here another problem is there is another caller. And like 3-better is like raises against like 2 people, and yeah, they're just like really strong. So it should probably just like fold next time. So flop is like ace xx with 2 clubs. It checks through. Turn is a 9. Again, I just gave up at this point because I think that's okay. Like ace just hits a lot of those like 3-bet hands or like calling hands. So river 8, check. I think it may have been the caller who bets like 18k, but yeah, I have like nothing and I just like fold. So yeah, I think it just was a like mostly like a pre-flop mistake, and I should have folded. Sorry. Then more like a standard hand, ace king of suit from under the gun, raised to 7.5k, button calls, and big blind all in for like 55k. I just repush because I don't want to just call and get called by the button and then like don't hit my like ace or king on the flop. And I think ace king is just like pretty strong to just like go all in and see it through and see get like all 5 cards. But button folds, and big blind shows ace queen suited, and unfortunately for me gets a queen on the river. Well, that's poker. It's another double barrel. Queen 8 offsuit on cutoff. I raised to 7.5k. Again, I'm not sure this is like that good of a hand to, because it's like Queen 8 and offsuit. It's not like super connected. Maybe like I think Queen 10 offsuit is like seems like a better hand to raise. And Queen 8 would be just hard to realize an equity. Although I'm in position, so it's a bit better. But I mean, it can get dominated. It doesn't really have much like straight opportunities. It's gonna probably just make like at most like top pair with a bad kicker, or like some middle pair or like low pair. So it's not super great. So it's only, I think, maybe decent to like try to steal the blinds. But in like tournaments, big blind should like defend very wide, so it's that's probably not gonna happen all that like frequently. So flop is king jack 7 with 2 clubs. Big blind checks, so I actually have a range advantage and a not advantage here. So I bet. Let's see about bet sizing. So it's like 7.5k plus 7.5k plus 1.5. Yeah, it's a bit on the like amount I want. Maybe like 11k would be like a bit more precise, but it doesn't matter all too much. So big blind calls. Turn is like 10 of clubs, Big blind checks. So I picked up an open-ended draw. I don't have a note if I like had the club in my hand. Um, but again, I decided to just keep blasting. So I still have like a straight draw, maybe like which gives me like maybe 6 outs, which can be decent. And also like flush is kind of scary for a little bit like big blind. Although I can also be beat, but I decided to be aggressive and it like paid off. Then same straight situation. Yeah, have queen 10, doesn't record the position. Raise to 7.5k, cut off calls. Again, it looks like it was some probably like middle position. It's a bit too loose of a raise. Maybe I just want at least like queen jack offsuit. Or like maybe raise like queen 10 offsuit from cutoff. So yeah, like flop is 9-8-7 with 2 clubs. I got a good draw. Plus, if I get a jack, I can potentially like get a lot of money from the tens. So I just decided to like play my draw aggressively, bet 10k again. Maybe I should bet like a little bit larger. Cut off calls. Turn is a 6, so it's still a good straight. I decided to value bet it with like a large size. Cut off calls. River 5 of clubs. Again, that's too scary to bet. Probably like at most I get called by like 10. Or like in the worst case I get like raised by a flush. I cannot fold really because I kind of need to bluff catch versus opponents who try to represent a flush, maybe with like ace of clubs, and maybe like I don't know, ace. What was there? I'm not sure which like 2 cards were clubs on the flop. But yeah, like whatever. For example, like I don't know, ace club, like maybe 9 or something. Um, or like could be trying to like represent flush because it like blocks ace of clubs. So yeah, I just like decide to check call if necessary, but it doesn't happen. I chop with a king 10. So yeah, I'm fortunate to not have hit like just some 10 as a top pair and to probably like lose a lot of money. Maybe not too much, but I'm kind of a calling station, so if one keeps blasting, I might like find some calls. So yeah, that's another reason why like queen 10 of suit is maybe not that great to like raise from like even middle position. Um, so yeah, coin flip versus aggressive player. It's been like a new table. I sat down, but I already noticed that he's like keeps like blasting. He already 3-bet me recently. So I'm in the middle position, raised to 8k, and he 3-bets like again to like 40k. I think it was like small blind or like big blind. So I have like what, about 40-ish big blinds. So I decided like 10s is just too strong. And he's like 3-bet range. Maybe it's probably just gonna be like a bit like weaker in general. So I decided that okay, I'm probably in good shape and just go all in. He calls and show ace king offsuit. So I hold and like double up nicely. Again, I'd probably play it the same way, given the read on the opponent. Some final notes. The new table didn't go so well, so I think it's been like pretty aggressive. There's people like raising, 3-betting, and I didn't get any like good cards really. So I like lost quite a bit, like a big chunk of my stack. But still, I got a decent stack for the day too. Well, that's gonna be it for me for today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.